We have Mr. Naganagouda, who is the Vice President and Global Head of Human Resources at Global Edge Software. He's going to give the keynote address, the afternoon keynote address on why metrics matter. Okay? Nagan, as he's popularly called, is a recognized HR guru who has a deep understanding of the role of people in the corporate ecosystem and has helped many establishments identify the right talent. Under his leadership, premier businesses have grown exponentially over the years. With expert insights into this realm, Nagan understands the driving factor for enterprises, that is people, and addresses their overall development. We welcome your remarks, sir, on metrics and why they matter in employee health. Nagan.
So good afternoon. I got my response. You see, such a healthy, nutritious lunch, and in program is on Arogya, is about health and wellness, and my good friend spoke so much about wellness-related data. I was really scared whether should I eat food or what should I eat and all that stuff. But having said that, a lovely lunch, I met some doctors, very, very interesting people. Now, Nalini doctor has given me a very difficult job. Now, I have to battle between the UP and MP. You understand what I'm saying? Huh? When MP is nicely filled, right, the connection to UP tend to slow down. And you know what happens? I starts to slow down. And it's really a tough time. And that too, it's a keynote speech on data and metrics. I think it's really a tough task. But I think it's my challenge to keep all of you glued to me, and the content that we're going to talk about will really, I'm trying to touch the surface of the iceberg because this is a very vast subject. And I think already everybody is talking about data and metrics. So let's understand why it really matters in an organizational context. So I represent a company called Global Edge Software, a company in the space of product engineering services. Recently got acquired by a company called Altron from France, a 3 billion euro organization spread across 30 countries. So we are really a geeky company doing some really, really high-tech work. So we also use metrics to that extent. Now, this is a story I'm sure all of you know. The Alice in the Wonderland. So the story of a girl, when she was young, she visited a place, and as she grew, she forgot about it, and she used to see that place in the dreams, but she didn't know where to go. If you don't know where to go, any road will take you. If you know where to go, you know the road, probably you are safe. So I think it's all about, if you don't know, so figure out yourself. So the Alice later follows a rabbit, and she reaches her destination. So to begin with, this is what, if you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there. Now, the agenda, quick agenda is the data word, some metrics, why data, and why metrics. A quick question to all of you. What is the most valuable, important resource in the world today? Loud. Time. Somebody said water. Water. Okay, what else? I thought I will engage for half an hour actually on this. Yes, she is absolutely right. Today, world thrives on data. And there are so many companies making trillions of dollars only on data. And data becomes extremely, extremely important for anything to move. For example, in this room today, right now, as I speak, we have tons and tons of data, right? If my good friend was asking how many breaths in a minute, that's data. How many glasses of water you're drinking in a day? How many calories you ate just now? Right? What was the quantum of sweet that led to the increase in calorie? And so on and so forth, right? So data is everywhere. And trust me, it's a very exciting phase of our life. And we couldn't have asked for a better life than where we are right now. So data is the real resource. Now, it's a word full of many aspects. It's like, hop, skip, and jump. If we ask you to do that, probably that will bring some more physical exercises into our daily routine. So, it's basic stuff is about data, then use the data to arrive at some metrics, and then use that matrix to arrive at some analytics. So, it is everywhere. What we see today is an explosion of data. Explosion to the max possible. And I'll show you in the next slide some sample data elements which will be of very interest to you. We love data, don't we? Today everybody speaks, Acha, what time did you get up? You don't ask, did you get up? We ask, what time you got up? We're asking data. Right? You want chai? How much chai you want? How much sugar you want? 2 cups? Or 2 spoons? You want sugarless? So data is everything that around us is data, and we really love data. And it lives longer than the systems. You create a system today, tomorrow you upgrade a system. But data remains in the system. Data outlives the system. So data has a very long life. As long as you wish the data to live, it will live. Because the longer the data, the more beneficial for you. So data has a very wonderful life. And we love to use the data. But the next element is, data is God. There's a saying, right? In God we trust, the rest everybody should bring data. Right? And we love God. And it means we love data. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm asking data again. How many of you are with me? Raise your hands. Oh, that's nice. Reasonably good data points. Yeah? Right. It's about developing a deep understanding about what data you have. You can have tons and tons of data. Today, many HR departments generate enormous data without understanding why you are collecting so much of data. And we don't make sense of the data at all. Unless somebody asks on the top, how many people are in office today? Can you give me an approximate number at 11 a.m. in the morning? What is the percentage of people in the office? Then suddenly we scramble how to figure out, put data together. So it is important for you to develop a good understanding about the data. The next statement is very personal and dear to me. Passion drives purpose, but data drives decisions. If you combine passion and data together, I believe we can create an outstanding organizations. Are you with me? So it's very essential. Data is the new currency. Some people are saying knowledge is the new currency. Some people are saying data is the new currency. There is also a new statement today which Gartner and Forrester and McKinsey is saying data is the new oil. And somebody is contradicting. It's okay. We can debate about the data. Is it oil, not oil? Is it fuel? What is data? It's different. The question is, if you have data, you are the boss. You can really make good money on data. What are some of these great analytics companies doing today? When I say analytics company, what comes to your mind? Last year we had a scam during the US presidential elections. Yeah, right? So you can use data, you can abuse data, and you can really leverage it to the best possible extent to bring in transformation in your company. But the choice is yours. Data cannot act itself on its own, right? So, now, some data point for you. 500 million internet users in India. Thanks to the latest one, Jio Mere Lal. Right? 500 million people in India are using internet. Look at this now. World population today, 7.6 billion. And out of which, 4.2 billion internet users. 3.03 billion social media users. Average social media time in this room, how many of you are spending How much of time on social media every day? Please be honest and tell me, your bosses are not here. Full time? I love the honesty, buddy. I really love the honesty. Yeah? There's estimated almost 2 hours a day we spend on social media. That's data for you. Right? Now, mobile population has overtaken the human population in the world. You have a threat. Mobiles will, not only mobiles will compete with us, but bots also are there at work. And the machines are going to be our colleagues very, very soon. We will have to work with robots. Next time when Dr. Nalini hosts an event, she doesn't need Naganagouda. All she has to do is to call Sophia. Sophia will churn out data, trillions of data in a fraction of a second, can make more impactful than what Nagan is talking now. That's the reality. It's already a reality. And Sophia has already become a citizen of a country in the world. So you have to welcome the robots into the human world. Now, India produces only less than 20% employable engineers. Do you know how many engineering graduates every year from India? There are 3,500 engineering colleges. 14 lakh people take admissions. 10 lakh people graduate. Out of 10 lakh graduates, only about 2 lakh have what is required as the necessary employable skills for them to seek an employment in an organization like wherever we belong. So what happens to the remaining 80%? It's again a very, very astonishing, scary, mind-boggling data. What to do with this data? We'll have to think about it. How do we work on it? Now that's why the governments are taking initiatives on how do we create skilled employees. And a lot of the National Skill Commission has been formed and several other things are happening. 600 million people in India are under the age of 35. We are the only country in the world, a young country in an aging world. Yeah? Then there are 5 trillion messages are sent in a day. I'm not saying this, thanks to Google, Uncle Google. 5 trillion messages in a day, can you imagine? This is completely mind-boggling. Really, really, it scares the hell out of you when you look at this data. India GDP is at 8.2. Of course, big debates are going on everywhere in every possible TV channel today. The last one, I think, is very dear to Dr. Nalini and myself. India is the diabetes capital of the world. Also data. Very scary data. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what kind of data and what data can do to all of us. I'm sure some of you had some feeling in your heart when you looked at some data. Yes or no? Yeah? So that is the power of data. Data can create and invoke feelings in you. Are you with me? Now, any organization wanted to measure some data, wanted to measure some metrics. They went through 5 different kinds of crisis. As the HR world calls it, every organization went through some crisis. We classify them as 5 different categories of crisis. And the first crisis is, I'm sorry, some of you will not be able to see this, the crisis of excess indicator crisis. How much data is enough for you to analyze a particular parameter, saying that, let's say, what is the health of these people in this room? What do you think, how many data points are required? Like I told you in the beginning, HR as an organization collects tons and tons of data, but does nothing about it. I think time has come for us to understand how much is good enough. If you have too many parameters, it will be a recipe for a disaster, because it does not lead you to anywhere, and you will not be able to conclude on anything. Measuring too many will not help. Dashboards today. 20 years ago, when I started my HR journey, we didn't have the so lovely, classy looking dashboards, everything on a single screen. We had to go through some 20 pages of dashboard every month to understand the health of the organization in terms of people, process, competency, capability, utilization, revenue, productivity, everything we had, 20 plus different pages. Today, all of that is out of the window. There's only one page, and it is shrinking every day. And every data is available with minimum KPIs. Because thanks to data, thanks to availability of the data at your disposal, Narrow down on a measurable matrix that is relevant to your business impact. There can be descriptive, prescriptive, predictive, but what you need to really look at is what part of the data has added value to your business. And narrow down on that particular parameter and then use that data for your matrix. That is very important. So what we are saying is you can only measure 3% of what matters to you. I'm not saying this. This is again proven, tested, and the research scholars have declared this data. It's available on Mr. Google again. So you should try to eliminate, funnelize your data points, narrow down on what you want to measure, how you want to measure, what are the critical parameters which will impact your business, will give you a sense of direction once you narrow down. So you have to eliminate the excess indicator crisis if you really want to have a meaningful matrix. Second one is definition of a matrix. See, there are a lot of people here from the manufacturing sector, the IT sector. A definition of a calculation of an attrition for my company could be very different from his company and for his company. So you have to define what is that you want from this particular parameter. Why you need it, how you need it, what will you do with that data. You must define very, very clearly what a matrix is for you. Because without having a definition, taking everybody's definition and putting them together will only deliver a khichdi, not more than a khichdi. It doesn't become a nice millets bisibile bath, correct? So we don't want to get into the khichdi model at all. And define the thresholds, min and max. You must look at what is the minimum and what is the maximum. And I'll come to you in a minute about the averages, okay? So you have to really define your boundaries and see how you can look at data in a very, very concise manner. You must follow, I'm sure all of you are aware of the Six Sigma. There are Six Sigma gurus companies are here like Toyotas and Godrej and all of them. Follow the DMAC model and it will really, really help you to define your metrics. So the essential message is you must define what a metric means to you first. Very, very clearly in your own terms, what is useful for your organization. So the third element is the crisis of extreme. Anything extreme is futile. Anything extreme is not good. What is required is bring in the right balance. Bring in the right element of understanding about what you want to measure. And even when Samudra Mantana happened between the Devatas and the Rakshasas, if Lord Shiva had drunk more Amrut, it would have been a poison for him. So we have to learn from our Puranas as well. Too much is too bad, right? So you have to have just the right blend of data and blend of matrix required for you to be able to analyze and measure and make some decisions. It is not about the quantity. I have 20,000 test cases to help you to define and give you a matrix what is meaningful for you. That 20,000 really doesn't matter. Maybe I would require only about 25 of them. So what is the use of wasting your time on those 20,000 data points which will not give you results and inputs on time with very crisp and clear information? So it doesn't really make any sense. So the crisis of extreme is not good. So what I'm saying is blend the metrics with intuition and experience for better decision-making process. So this is about crisis of extreme. Now, it is about the crisis of averages. I think we talked about the average, right? So it is good to collect all possible data. Many people say, on an average, my company is doing well. When you say, what does it mean? Then he will blink for a moment. What should I say? Yeah, on an average, our utilization is this. On an average, our experience is this. What is the average? For somebody, average could be a 3 feet. Look at the diagram on the right side, or on your right and on my left. If you blindly follow the flawed rule of averages, probably you'll be in for trouble. So you should never, when you get into metrics, you should be very careful about the flaw of the averages. It's very, very important that you look at that data. So it's about identifying the outliers. It is not that, average. What is the average? For example, I'm sure you've heard of the great Jack Welch data inputs on top performers, mid performers, and bottom performers, right? So if you take an average of that, is that the performance of the organization? So you put all the high performers together and take an average of that. And you are making the top performers as average performers. You are actually bringing down the productivity index of the organization by looking at average. You should actually be very, very careful about the law of averages and the crisis of averages. So because we measure in the industry the number of learning days, number of learning hours, learning effectiveness. If you dive deep, put the glasses like what I am wearing and then go down deep, you will realize the real problems. But when you look at average, everything looks very nice and cozy. So it's good to present to the board, it's good to present to the management. On an average, we are doing very well as an organization. So I'm safe as an organization, as a function. So please be mindful of when you look at averages, you really have to average your averages to figure out what are these averages that you are dealing with. It's very, very essential. The next one that I talk about is the rear view mirror crisis. I'm sure everybody drives. Everybody drives, right? So what if we set a rule that every day you have to come very safe, secure, without hurting anybody on the road, without hurting your car, come nicely on time. What are the different ways that you look at? If somebody like me, I will look at the rear mirror and keep driving, looking for safety. Does it give you speed? Does it give you the result that you're looking for? Probably you are creating so much of trouble for everybody, right? So that is the issue. So only you should look at lag. You don't have to look at the lag indicators. You have to focus on lead indicator. What is important for me? What is the lead indicator which will give me some direction, some sense of understanding, some sense of purpose to what I'm looking at, rather than looking at lag indicators. It is like driving, seeing the rear mirror. Instead of seeing the rear mirror, you have to see the road is clear. Road is clear in front of you. Don't worry about what is behind you. Your future is ahead of you. Move forward. That is very important. So, as management jargons, we feel it's very, very important for us to look at the past and the present and the future. Very good, no doubt. But thus far and no further. You need to really make use of what is available at your disposal to see how you can really, really make sense of what lies ahead of you. It's very, very essential. So what we're saying is matrix leads to some insights. And those insights lead to some action, some results. And you can measure those results in a very, very meaningful way. Are we doing good? Hello? Yeah. Are we all good? I also had lunch. Right, good. So now we talk about why metrics really matter for every organization or for every individual. For example, I don't know, recently I went to my child's school for a parents-teachers meeting. One of the most dreaded meeting that you could go for. You are happy to go present to the board of your organization, your performance. But it's very scary when you go in front of the school teacher, class teacher that too, and hearing about your child's performance. And they will give you metrics. They'll give you data. You'll be shocked. They'll say, your son's performance on an average in the class is A+. I don't know what does it mean. I really don't know. I got scared. I asked a question. Could you please elaborate what you mean by that? Is he saying your son is okay, he's a good guy? Doesn't make sense. Then your son doesn't study. He doesn't score well in this marks, that marks. But he's very good in extracurriculars. We are a very academic focused school. First I need to know what I want my son to be. Then you actually can relate to that, what teacher is saying, and then where you want to drive your son, and how you want to shape his or her future. By the way, I have no control on where my son wants to be. It is his destiny, he has to decide. We just have to show them the direction. Right? So, metrics really, really matter. Why? Because it takes away the guesswork of the great intellects in the organization. I have a feeling our organization profitability is 15%. What makes you to say this? You know, I'm guessing this. Boss, keep your guesswork at a distance. So how do you eliminate the guesswork from the CS scenario, from the real data-driven organizations? The best way is adopt matrices. And matrices will take away these guess intellectuals and place them in the right place. So that is most important, very, very vital. It provides actionable insights and leads to concrete results. It's very, very essential. It makes whatever you do based on the evidence. Hey, that fellow is planning to resign tomorrow. The gossip, coffee table conversation. I think CFO is resigning, CEO is resigning, he's selling his stake. Where do you discuss this? And then that becomes a data point for you. And then you propagate that information in the organization. You're actually fueling the fire, right? So you don't have to rely on hearsay and rumors. You really, really have to believe and look at the evidences that are required for you to have an informed decision. It's very, very, very essential. So do not rely. If you have metrics in your organization, you will not have to worry about all this hearsay and rumors and gossips. And it facilitates a sense of urgency. A couple of years ago, I was working for a startup company, and the company CEO was based in the US, and all he wants to know is every week what is the organizational utilization. We deal with the semiconductor clients, companies like Marvell, Intel, Broadcom, Qualcomm, name any semiconductor company, Samsung. So what happened in one of the customers' organization, one project just ended abruptly because they didn't have budgets. So they said, hey guys, 30 people of yours will have to go back for next 3 months. We'll take them back effective February. So what happened? That data went to the CEO that end of that week. So it so happened that he took a knee-jerk reaction to terminate those employees. Because you can take good decisions based on good data points. You can actually take bad decisions based on bad data points. It's very, very essential for you to have the sense of urgency with conviction. It's very, very essential. I'll be done in the next 3 minutes. Yeah. It eliminates bias and prejudice. Yeah, Nagan did not eat anything, but still this fellow is talking so much. Huh? I saw him talking to doctor, but he was now eating only fruits. What is wrong with this guy? So, no prejudice, no bias. Oh, this guy is looking very smart. Maybe he'll speak nice. No bias and no prejudice. Guides the organizational return on investment in the right direction. So, it's very, very essential. You need to understand why metrics matter. Because matrices will take away the guesswork, will reduce the biases, will take away the unreasonable critics. They will silence the critics as well. This is a great job. Everybody wants to be a critic given a chance, right? No, you are not fit. I know, I'm telling you. How do you know? Boss, my BMI is less than 25, yaar. No, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with your stomach. Go get a check done. So, critic, it's very easy now because it's very easy to be a critic. So, the best way to silence your critics is get into metrics and get into data. Right now, this last slide. HR will love data, will love metrics. If you ask me, I can give you 50 to 70 different matrices to measure as an HR function. But what I have realized in the last few weeks, I was also looking at the plan for the next year when Dr. Nalini called me saying that you have to be here and talking about why metrics and why data. I really got psyched actually, saying that, look, I'm very busy, this is a very, very difficult time. But I said, knowing Dr. Nalini, I heard from my friend, she's doing an extraordinary work. I thought I must be part of this great conclave and share my experience. Then I thought, what should be those trending HR metrics that you should look for in your respective organizations? And how do you build these metrics in your organizations through various data points? I think the previous speaker talked about the stress levels and all that. I will tell you, if there is one thing, how many of you are HR guys here? Maybe very less. What keeps you awake at midnight? One thought that keeps you awake at midnight. Oh, you are a very nice lady, man. That's very good. Okay, what else? What keeps you awake at midnight? Anybody, quickly. She has already given me a time. I think it's already your time's up, you leave. Huh? You know what? If you ask me what keeps me awake at midnight, will I have everybody tomorrow morning in office? Or will I have to delete somebody in my list, payroll list? I am not exaggerating. Today we have reached the scenario. I was talking to the doctor during lunchtime. The tenacity levels of the workforce of this industry of this century has become so low, the thresholds are so low. The relationships are extremely fragile. People give up life just for nothing. Father scolded you for not coming home on time, you ended your life. Mother scolded you because you failed one subject in the 6th semester of engineering. She was sitting in front of the TV. Mother came from work. She said, you don't have any other job, blah, blah, blah. She yelled at her. And she did not wake up next morning. We had a conference call at 9:30 p.m. in the night with one of our colleagues. 10:30 he is not there. So what keeps you awake at midnight for HR professionals is, have you taken care of the organizational wellness, wellness metrics? Are you able to create an environment where people can thrive, succeed, and live with happiness? So the indexes like happiness index, performance effectiveness, employee wellness, Uberization index, diversity index, engagement quotient. If you have a highly engaged organization, what will happen to the company? What will happen to the company? Do you know what? Some data I'm giving you now. Just one more minute, doctor. 46% of the Indian IT workforce is under stress. This is data. Out of that 46%, 30% are diabetic. Remaining 30% are hypertensive. Some 50% more people are suffering from depression. They don't talk to you. They don't express their depression. I am talking to you so nicely. I may be under depression for all you know. But it is not seen by anybody, right? The Indian workforce, the way we work, the economy that we are riding on, all is creating a hell of an experience and a hell of a trouble for all of us. That's why these companies like Arogya, the initiative that you are taking is so important and so crucial for any organization to drive the organization in the right direction. Don't treat people as a resource. Resources are the desks and this. Human beings are not resources, let me tell you, my dear friends. You can attach a metrics to an individual, but you cannot take away the individual from the person. So it's very, very essential to treat humans as humans and treat them as human capital. Like Narayana Murthy once said, every day lakhs of people walk into my organization, intellectual property, he says. He goes on to say intellectual property of the organization. Every individual is the intellectual property of the company. So it is important to focus on people and nothing else. You take care of your people, people will take care of your customers. So in a nutshell, metrics are, it is like, for you to live, what is required? Like my friend asked, to breathe, what is required? Huh? Air is very much required, right? Heartbeat is also required. It is like metrics is as important as a heartbeat to all of us to survive. On that note, I have told you what metrics, why data, how data. This is a very short time. I would have been very happy to spend more time on this and then elaborate and take questions. But trust me, I'm sure I would have touched the tip of the iceberg of how to deal with data, how to deal with so much of information that is available at our disposal. I wish you good luck. I wish all of you to have some metrics going back and take some good metrics and measure those things and bring in the wellness, the happiness quotient in your respective organization. Good luck and God bless. Thank you.